Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 7th of May. It is the day after Palantir. Palantir reported earnings in the aftermarket yesterday. They are one of the big ones in IT security. So they are, of course, something that the market is keeping an eye on. After earnings release, the Palantir stock dropped actually around 9-10% and traded around 22.90. That's a massive sell-off compared to yesterday's bullish move that actually confirmed an uptrend in for Palantir above the cloud, above RSI, above 60. It is not a reversal of the trend, trading at 22.90. I wouldn't be surprised that it may. Let's see where it opens, but if it opens around the $22.90 or $23, I do suspect that buyers will come in and lift it a little bit. But why would they? I mean, this is we are still in a bullish trend, and currently the overall market is bullish. So. But if we see a massive sell-off taking it below the cloud and below 21.60, well then it could be out for a bit of a rough ride lower towards $20. So let's see what happens when it opens later today. On the overall market, S&P 500 closed above 5,146. It closed above the cloud. We are in a bullish trend. It is not yet confirmed with RSI still being below 60, but let's see in a day or two if it doesn't confirm that. But we do have reversed the trend at least short term here. So fairly strong move yesterday. More or less the same picture on Nasdaq. It still hasn't closed above the cloud. I would like to see that, and I would also like to see RSI closing above 60. If it becomes rejected at the 60 threshold, then the market could suddenly lose this strength and this steam again, and basically slide back, but I think we'll see higher levels. Moving on to the European market with EuroStoxx50, still a very muted response to the US market, bullish move. Still about above 4,888, but we are in this range here. It really needs to close back above the cloud, close and a confirmation above 5,035, and preferably also RSI back above 60. There's no negative sentiment on the RSI, but there is divergence, so a little bit not convincing move there. This morning, DAX seems fairly strong. At the moment, it is trading above the key resistance. Still need the RSI to be back above 60, but I think it will move there. It's still in a bullish sentiment or positive sentiment. Hasn't closed below 40, so I think we will see DAX moving higher towards 18,365, possibly towards the previous peak. Amsterdam index, one of the strong ones that be front-running more or less new all-time highs on AEX. I think we could see AEX towards 908, 910 in the coming weeks. CAC 40 still quite weak in this range here, so not much to say. Swiss market, well, it is trading above 11,380, but it's being met with resistance at the cloud. If it can get into the cloud, maybe it can get a little bit of energy towards 11,600 level. On the FX side, seems like euro dollar is sliding a little bit back. Not unexpected, I would say. I actually think it will slide back lower here in the coming days. And if we see the RSI getting back below this lower rising trend line here, then I think we'll see weakness creeping in more and more on euro dollar, coming back down to 107. Technically, we should see lower levels on euro dollar. There's no divergence down here on the RSI, so I think we'll see euro dollar moving lower in the coming days and coming weeks. Cable, more or less the same picture. losing steam this morning after spike into the 786 retracement. I think we will see it slowly sliding back lower towards 125 and lower in the coming days. If it takes out these spike downs here from a couple of days ago, then I think the sell-off will accelerate. Dollar yen, still in a rebound mode, struggling a little bit, but I think we will still see, at least that's what the indicator is telling me, we'll see dollar yen, all the yen pairs for that matter, going to bounce higher in the coming days and coming weeks. There is potential up to 61.8 retracement, 157, possibly up to 786 retracement. The reason for this is that RSI is still in a positive sentiment. There's no divergence, and that indicates we should see a higher close, at least, maybe not a higher high, but a higher close, higher than this one, where the RSI recorded its peak the last time. So in this area, possibly a little bit higher on dollar yen. Also euro yen struggling a little bit today. It's quite day to day, but there's potential up to 168.75, possibly up to 170 for a new peak, and that is what the indicator is telling me. That is not a certainty. This is just about possibilities. We had also yen spiking up to 50% of this sell-off there, and that's quite interesting. That is then losing steam. But again, the RSI is telling me there's no divergence. This is the highest peak on the RSI, and this is the highest close. So we should see a higher close on Aussie yen in the coming days or weeks. When it will occur, it's of course not easy to say. If it takes out, and you can read this. Everything about this a little bit more in deep in my technical piece that I published yesterday on our website, on our trading platforms and Twitter. If it takes out these lows here from last week, well, then we have a completely new situation, and the rebound is in jeopardy. We had something we don't see that much in the FX market. We have a bullish engulfing. We see market opened higher than the close the previous day, closed higher than the open the previous day. That is a bottom and reversal pattern after it bounced off the rising trend line. So I think we will see also here sterling yen moving higher in coming days. Aussie dollar being rejected at this resistance here just below 66.50. I think we will see Aussie dollar sliding lower and back below the cloud here the next couple of days. There is a little bit help from it. I actually did close above the 60 RSI, but it's not that convincing. Dollar Canada trying to get its acts together to move higher, and I think will move higher in the coming days and weeks. Dollar Swiss, still not really much to say, back above the rising trend line. It's actually hovering around it, and I think we will see it moving higher in coming days, but still a break below 90 level then could be hit here by a fairly strong sell-off. Finally, on the dollar index, also here above the rising trend line. If it gets back above 105.30, then I think we will see it pushing towards previous peaks here at 106.30-33 level. Gold, very sideways at the moment, right? Between 22.80 and up to 23 and a quarter. Can't really get above 23.53. If it does, well, then I think we'll see a push towards 2400 and possibly higher. If it takes out 22.77, which is the low here, then expect the sell-off down to around 2200. Silver was a great run yesterday up to the 38.2 retracement at 27.46. A little bit of a setback. If we do get the RSI back above 60, I would expect it moving towards 28.35, possibly up to around 29. If not, then look out for a push below the lows here at the 26 and a change, then we could see further selling down to around 25. Not really much to say on copper. It did bounce a little bit. If it takes out the 469.30 peak there, well, then there is still room up to around 495, 100 around that level. On the energy side, Well, WTI is still testing this lower rising trend line here. If it breaks below it, and if it does close below the cloud, well, then we're looking at levels between 72.5 and 75. We have Brent crude oil. Oops, sorry. Brent crude oil below the rising trend line. Support at 81.42, around that level. Still above, it hasn't broken below the cloud, but it is struggling a little bit. The 100 moving average seems to be key here, but we are in a negative sentiment, so and it is actually a negative bearish trend, so this support could come under pressure. The US 10-year correction is ongoing. I think we could see a move down to the 61.8, retracement of 439, possibly dipping down to support around 434. So, and if we look at the actually future, and that is always interesting to look at, that's the one you can actually trade, 109.8.5, as you can see here. Well, then that is the key resistance. If it breaks above that, well, then there's a push higher. And we can just add a little bit of Fibonacci to that downwards move there and see, okay, can it give us some guidelines? See, we are actually around 38.2 retracement, could push up to 110.7 if it does break above. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.